So, I want to give to somebody, but I'm not supposed to tell. Wait, also, I can't expect anything back. But I'm not supposed to give and then tell other people, right? I'm not supposed to give and then expect something back, right? Is that right? Well, we're going to talk about it today. Today, we are talking about finding your fortune by giving to others. Finding your fortune by giving to others. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri with the UNA University and UNARepublic. Y'all stay tuned. We're ready to get into it. Yeah! Yeah, we're in the house now. Yes. UNA. Yeah. I got to do my dance today, especially after all this drama I went through to get up in here. Yeah. My hair's still on my head. It don't move, baby. All right, let's do this thing. We are here today. I swear I've forgotten everything today. Trying to mess with this computer and this software, this technology, driving me crazy. But we up and running. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri. On this open session, January 6th, 2023. We are in the new year. Welcome, everybody. Welcome and welcome. So what are we talking about today? Now, first of all, I want to say I am grateful for being here live today, especially after everything I've gone through just to get this thing up. So, hello. Let's do this thing now. Today, we're talking about finding your fortune by giving. You're going to find your fortune by giving, and this takes us into the universal laws, okay? So we're going to get deep into this thing today. So I welcome everybody, and we are live on YouTube, and we are live on TikTok. And I want to say, welcome everybody. Welcome. Now, I want to see if I can get my, I'm going to need my buddy to help me out and make sure if somebody messages me over on TikTok, send me the message so I can get it. Because I want to make sure I answer anything coming into TikTok. So, yeah, we're getting this thing up. Now I'm able to run both TikTok and YouTube at the same time. So, okay, good. I'm excited. It took a while, but I'm here. Now, let's get into this thing. Who's in the house, first of all? Let me just welcome everybody who's in the house. Automatic. Automatic said, praise God. That's right. Praise God. Magi. Creek Muskie Braves checking in. Thank you. Glad to have you here. All right, so good. Now, so let's get this thing started. As I said, we're dealing with finding your fortune by giving. Now, this deals with universal laws, all right? Two of the laws that it deals with is law of oneness and law of compensation. And as a matter of fact, I want to go ahead and put this up here, these laws here, the universal laws, which are very important because that's going to play a role in understanding what we're talking about. So let me get on this because we have been told that, you know, when you give, you're not supposed to say anything, you're not supposed to tell anyone, and you're not supposed to have expectations. So I need to go into this because of the simple fact that, there's some misconceptions about giving and then being able to share that information. And we're going to talk about why they are misconceptions and how you give and then speak on it. All right. So the two laws we're dealing with here, law of oneness that you see right here. And by the way, if you don't have these, you can go check us out on, check out the links in the bio, and also go to UNARepublic.com UNARepublic.com/docs, DOCS, UNARepublic.com/docs. So we're talking about the law of oneness here. And one of my favorite laws, the law of compensation right here. All right. And we're going to go into those today and understand some things about giving and why it's to give. All right. I want to go into the story about when I was in South America. All right. I went to South America. Actually, I left the country. It was just before Obama was about to be reelected. It was when people were voting. It was like around October. And I left the country with no expectation or desire of coming back into the country. But when I was in South America, one of my first businesses in South America, I sold brownies. I just needed something simple and quick to do so that I can get some money. Because when I left, my whole purpose of leaving was to not depend on the dollar ever again at all for any reason. And I went to South America, and while I was down there, I had to decide what I wanted to do. Because I had a business here in North America. I had an event facility, and I actually rented out my building to churches, of all things. And I had decided to let that business go, even though it was funding me. When I first went into South America, I was in Brazil and I lived there and it funded me. And listen, when you're in South America, if you make $500 a month, you want to live like a king and a queen because it's less expensive there. But at any rate, I went into Argentina, and this is where I started, really getting into. This is why I wanted to stay, because Argentina is a beautiful place, and I just fell in love with the land, the people, the weather, the everything. I loved Argentina. So, at any rate, while I was in Argentina, I had to decide what business I was going to do. And one of my first business was brownies. I sold brownies, and what I would do is I would go to the beach, and I won't tell the story about how I started selling brownies. But I just want to get into this understanding of what happened when I was there. When I was on the beach, I would go and sell these brownies to the people who were sitting there and chilling and hanging out. And then I would sing. I sang a lot, because what would happen is I go to the beach, and everybody and their mama, sister, brother, cousin had a guitar. And I'd go up to them and I'd ask them, I'd say, well, what English songs do you know? And everybody knew Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. So every time I said I go out, I'd look for somebody who had a guitar. Why? Because I'm like, hey, let's sing. Because when I would start singing, I'm going to sell out of my brownies. All right. And so all I had to do that maybe for 2 hours for 4 days a week, and that's it. I'd taken care of everything for the whole week. And really, if I do it for 2 weeks straight, and then sell out of my brownies, I've done everything I need to do for the month. So at any rate, that's what I did. No, there was no weed in my brownies. Okay, they were just regular brownies. They had sugar in them. That's it. So now I would go out and I sell these brownies, and I'm singing. And so as I started singing more, I started meeting people there, and my gigs started to pick up. So now I'm going to do 2 shows. I do 2 shows a night, and everything's paid for the month. Okay. So what happened was I would go and do my shows, and I was still selling my brownies, and then I do my shows, and I have some brownies left over when I do my shows. And I started just giving the brownies away because I didn't want to throw them away. So I was like, let me give them away. Now I'm selling these brownies for $10. I need y'all to stay with me so you can understand where I'm going. I'm selling these brownies for $10. Okay. And then I was just like, I can just give these away as gifts. I can just give these away as gifts. I wasn't charging anything because I just wanted to give them as gifts to the people who were being so kind to me. By the way, not to mention, let me tell you, I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to tell you how big it came. So remember, if I did 2 weeks of selling straight, I'm taken care of for the month. All right. And what happened was when I started selling or giving the brownies away at my shows, all right, I remember I'm selling them for $10. The people were so giving. I remember I was giving those brownies away, and people was like, well, here's 100. And I was like, well, okay, you want change? No, just keep it because I love your voice. Thank you for what you do. Now remember, I was selling them for 10. They were giving me gifts of 50s and 100s. Please keep it because I love your voice. Thank you for what you do. And this is when I really started to recognize how important it is to give. To give. I found a fortune when I started giving them away. By the time I finished giving those brownies away, I made way more from giving them away than I ever could have selling them. So that's just an example. This is when I really started to come into knowledge of these universal laws and how to make them work for me. So when we're talking about these universal laws, I'm letting you know I apply these. This is how I lived in the country because I let the universal laws take care of me. I let the universe take care of me. Another example of, how I use these laws. Like this was one of my favorites, and I've talked to you all about this before. But when I went into South America, I was touring. As a matter of fact, once I started, going into these shows and everybody started knowing me for my brownies, and I'm just giving them away, I started touring a whole lot more throughout the entire country. And so as I was touring, I started, again, applying these laws back here, especially the law of compensation. So I would go to different hotels, and I was like, I got to the point, I was like, I want a better hotel, and I want to upgrade. And so anyway, I decided I'm going to apply these laws. So I had a show at a hotel that I was staying at one night, and I decided, okay, I'm going to get a much better hotel next time. And I said, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to pay for somebody else's hotel room. And I decided tonight, I'm going to give away a hotel room. I'm going to pay for somebody's hotel room. And so what ended up happening, forgive me, my little YouTube is not working, or it says it's working, but okay, there we go. All right, so what ended up happening is I decided that night after my show, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I'm going to give a room to somebody. I'm going to pay for somebody's room. So I had a woman to come up to me, and she was just so grateful and thankful. Thank you so much for your music, your singing, your talent. I really do appreciate it. And I said, oh, thank you. What room are you staying in? And she told me what room she was staying in. And I went to the front desk and I paid for her room for that one night. And, she saw me later and she was grateful and she said, thank you. So I said, okay. So I went to the next city because I had a tour, and I went to the next city, and I just let it go. When I got there, they had sold out of all of their hotels except for one. And so I went to this one hotel room and I asked the guy, I said, I said, I need a hotel room. And he says, okay, well, we just have one left. Would you like to see it? So we went to see the room, and he says, okay, this one is $800. And I was like, whoa, 800. All right, well, I'm gonna take it. And he said, well, how long are you staying? And I was like, I'll be staying for about 7 days. He's like, well, I can give it to you for $400 a night. And I said, okay, well, that's cool. I appreciate that. And he says, but why are you here? What are you doing here? Because, see, I'm dark-skinned, and, in Argentina, the vast majority of the people are Albion, light-skinned. So I stood out. He's like, well, why are you here? And I said, I'm here on tour. I sing. I do blues, jazz, R&B, hip-hop, funk, rock. And he says, oh, okay, well, we have a big group here. Would you be interested in performing for the group? And I was like, yes. And I said, well, I tell you what, how about we barter this? Well, I'll just sing and you comp the room instead of paying me. And he agreed. Now, y'all got to understand something. Not only was the room now paid for the entire week, but I'm getting ready to get compensated because they're going to tip. And they're going to pay me way more than what he could have paid me to do the show in the first place. So I'm saying this to you so that we can understand something. I paid for one night. All right? I paid for one night for one person. I gave. And then the universe turned around and gave me a better room in a better hotel for 7 days plus tips. So I'm saying this because when we start applying these laws, and that's all I did, the law of compensation. This is one of my favorite. This is my favorite law right here. The law of compensation. All right. All energies. Y'all can see this? Positive and negative that we put out, they must come back. And the universe is going to return it many times over. All right? Many times over. Okay? So I'm saying all of that so that hopefully we're getting this understanding. Hopefully we're getting the understanding that when you apply these laws, the universe is going to return them not just one to one, but many times over. Let me go into this. All right? I need to get into universal currency and us understanding what universal currency is. So, as we speak about, the universe keeps track of all of the energies that you put out. So, the universe is a bank. And this is what we don't recognize or understand. Hello, Anubis. Jerome, thank you for joining. Now, whatever. Thank you for joining. Big Daddy, thank you. J Dub, Raymond. All right, so if y'all have any comments or questions, I would love to get with you on them, so please let me know. All right, so now, when the universe is constantly keeping track of your energies, and so I'm going to give you an example about how the universe operates. If you go to a bank and you only put in $20, it's not reasonable for you to think you can write a check for $200 and get it back. It's not reasonable. All right? And with the universe, it is the same thing. If you're putting in negative energies into your universe, what does this mean? When you're being disrespectful to someone, you're talking negative to someone, you're being selfish, then you cannot expect the universe to return to you when you say, oh Lord, oh God, I got to pay this bill. Oh God, what am I going to do? I need some help. You haven't helped other people when they needed help. So you haven't built up your universal currency. This is important. If you're not putting into your universe, this means giving to people, helping others, being kind to people, being a fortune to others, serving other people, then you can't get served. All right? It's important that we're recognizing the energies that we're putting out. And I want to give you another example about how currency works and how it returns to you. So once again, when you're putting into others, all right, why am I talking about the law of oneness? Because we are all one. When you uplift someone else, all right, law of oneness, when you uplift someone else, you by law have to be uplifted as well. That's the law of oneness. And so when you are uplifting other people, being a fortune to other people, being willing to serve other people, then that energy has to be returned to you. It never goes without being seen. It doesn't. If you do something kind for somebody, the universe is going to see it and return it. That's the law. So this is why you always want to be willing to be a service to others. So just getting into this, when you, let me tell you about how money returns and how it works. When you're putting out money, put it out like you would send a man that you love or a woman that you love out into the world. When you put it out with love, it's got to return. So if you wake up, for example, and men, you think about this, because y'all leave and not return. That's how your money will work. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay? When you are, for example, women, when you have a man and you show him love, you wake up in the morning and you're happy to see him and you kiss him, and you get up and you fix him some breakfast and grits and eggs and toast and whatever, and you're happy when you're doing it, and then you feed him, and he gets ready to go off work, and you kiss him goodbye, and baby, I love you, and he goes off to work, and his boss is loving him, the co-workers are loving him, the customers all love him. Okay, he's at work, he does his work, he has a great day. He gets in his car, he comes home, he comes into the house, and he's, hey baby, I love you, glad to be back home, and you happy to see him. Comes into the house, and he's, hey baby, I love you, glad to be back home, and you happy to see him. That's how your money works. Now, imagine you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You angry, you pissed off, you going off, and you get up, you might fix him something to eat. You burn his toast, or if you give him any toast at all, you send him out the house, you cussing and fussing before he leave. He slam the door, he go into work, his boss is mad at him, the co-workers can't stand him, the customers are all acting up towards him. When he leaves, he gets in his car, if he comes back home, because right now, he won't feel like coming back home. He's not in a good mood. He didn't leave on a good note with you, and really the desire to come back into that house is low because the energy is bad. Okay? If he comes back, he's going to sit in the car in the driveway for a little while and think about it. If he comes back. And it's going to take him some time to come back into that house to deal with your energy. That's the same way money is. I know you think it's not alive. Everything is alive. Everything. And so that's exactly what you have to think about whenever you put your money out. What am I talking about? The universe does not care about who you're giving the money to. This law of compensation right here works regardless of who you're giving the money to. As long as you're putting it out with love and gratitude, by law, it's got to come back to you. All right? That's the law. It's got to come back to you. So let's understand how this works. For example, I wasn't. And of course, when you're putting it out, and I'm paying a $300, $400 light bill or whatever, when you're putting it out, if you're putting it out with a bad energy, you're negative about it, you're not grateful, you're disturbed, you're upset, then by law, and just like that man who didn't want to come back, that's how your money will act on you. But when you are grateful, I'm so grateful that I even have the funds to pay this bill. When you're grateful, I'm grateful that I have lights. I'm grateful that I have lights for my clients who are in this building, this facility, that I can take care of them and do what I need to do because I have electricity. I am grateful. The universe doesn't care where it goes. She's going to return it in multiples when you have the right energy. That's how that works. That's why it's important to make sure that whenever you're putting out anything, especially money, if you're wanting it back, show love, show gratitude. So I want to go into this because a lot of people are not understanding how certain people get things to come back to them. They're not even understanding it. You ever notice that people who do big things, they give big? Let me give you an example. There was this television series or show that I saw. It wasn't television. It was on YouTube. It was commissioned to leave all the money he had behind and change his identity and go out. He's a real estate investor, but his thing was he needed to go out and make this money back. So he'd take everything away from him, leave him with $100, and he had to take that $100 and go out and in 2 weeks land these deals. And I think he was looking for $1 million, but at any rate, he got $600,000 at least. So what happens is he goes out and he's changed his identity and he's supposed to act like nobody, he doesn't want anybody to recognize who he is. All right. So he changes his identity and he is actually wheeling and dealing. He's wheeling and dealing. He's like, oh my God, I'm nervous. If I don't get this money, I'm going to go broke. Okay. What ends up happening is he lands a $600,000 deal. And the first thing he did when he landed that deal, and he showed it, he went and gave, and I think it was like $25,000 to somebody who had a company, to different neighborhoods where there might be homeless people. He'd cut their hair and let them shower in this bus. He donated money to that organization. Okay, $25,000. Now I need y'all to understand something. That's not just a one-time thing. All right, he does that regularly. He gives regularly. Now I need y'all to understand this because we're going to look at this and he's telling something. Everybody, all of us have an energy. And because he had been so kind and giving to others in the past, the universe is not going to let him go without. He might not have gotten that. But I got it clearly. Yeah, he was able to close this deal in 2 weeks. All these deals he closed in 2 weeks, great. But he doesn't just get that just because, first of all, let's also recognize that this guy just going to go out in 2 weeks and do that. But even if he didn't have that, the universe was not going to let him be without because he had given in the past. He had already been a giver. And by law, right here, law of compensation. He's been a giver. He didn't just all of a sudden he got all that money because he gave. And then he turned around and gave more because that is within his nature. We got to get giving. We got to put giving back into our nature. We got to put being willing to serve, to give. Over here on this side, he had already been giving. The universe is not going to let you go without. It's not happening. So when he goes, oh my God, I'm nervous. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this, calling on some checks. Or he's trying to cash in some checks for his universal currency that he put out over here already. And as soon as it came to him, he gave again, because that's a part of his nature. And that is why he's going to continue to receive. Not just because, oh, I'm smart and I know how to do this, or I got the skills, or it's more than that. The universe is working for him, and you can't go without. When you have affected this law of compensation, you can't. You got to be trying real hard. You got to try real hard to go without when you've done this. Y'all ever seen that movie? I think it's Brewster's Million with, what's his name? Richard Pryor. Brewster's Million with Richard Pryor. And in that movie, Richard Pryor, he had to give away all of this money. That was his responsibility. His job was to somebody left him millions of dollars. And his job was to spend it all and not have not one penny left. And every time they kept trying to spend it, it kept coming back. He couldn't tell anybody what he was doing, but he's trying to spend all of this money. All right, so now I want to get into this because there are these thoughts, okay, that if you give, you can't tell anybody. Okay. So let's clear. If I share with you when I've done something to help somebody and it made me feel good, that's evil. Are you kidding me? No. See, somebody has made it. They don't want you to share it because when you share what you've done for other people, it becomes, everybody starts getting on that tip of giving to others. There are a certain group of people who have to go away. If I can make you keep it silent, don't be telling everybody that. You could tell them when you're angry. You could tell them when you're upset and pissed off. Does that even make sense? Hey, Alvis, yes, you can. You can cash at me. UNARepublic, the $ UNARepublic. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Anubis, yes, energy. So, yeah, don't you dare tell people when you've done something kind to help other. No, you better not say that. Does that even make any sense? Everybody's on their YouTube feed saying all of these negative things and all of this and this happened to me and girl, I'm so upset. But I can't tell you when I've done something positive for someone. I can't tell you when I've helped someone and I've made them feel good. Well, there's a problem there, and somebody doesn't want you to do that because, we in this society, we copy what we see. We're copycats, and that's okay. But let's start copying something positive. Why is it that everything needs to be negative? No, we're going to start copying people who do positive things, and I like being around people who tell me about the positive things that they've done because they remind me, oh, wait a minute, I got to do something. They remind me to make sure that I am about the business of serving and giving. That's my business, serving and giving. Because I know when I give to others, when I uplift others, because we are all one, when I uplift others and I'm willing to serve others, the universe is going to serve me. So I'm going to give you an example. I remember when I was in the car with a friend and he stopped at one of the fast food restaurants. I don't eat fast food, so I wasn't even paying attention. But he was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to pay for the people behind me. I was like, oh, I want to play. So we all got in it. Everybody in the car got in it. And it was just a fun thing to do. All right. These are the type of people I want to be around. The type of people who I hang around, we don't be stressing over money. We don't. Because we know when we put it back, it's coming back. When we put it out, it's coming back. So, for example, when we did a retreat. And we were in, we did this one in Sedona, Arizona. And even when we were in Myrtle Beach with our retreat, we did this one in Sedona, Arizona. And even when we were in Myrtle Beach with our retreat, we go out to eat. We're not sitting at by the time we get finished tipping, the waitress got $50, $60, $70. Why? Because we know by the time we get finished tipping, those type of people, you need to change yourself and change your people. Because we're giving. That's what we do. All right? So I just want to make sure, I'm just making sure that I go through everything. We want to have reminders. We want to be around people who are going to remind us to be great. All right? Who are going to remind us, oh, we need to give. Those are people we want to deal with. Now, there's this thought also that you shouldn't be expecting anything. Okay, let's understand it from this perspective. When you plant a seed, now I'm going to hold on for a second. Let me go and load this up so that we can be clear on how these laws are. Once again, if you don't have these laws, go to UNArepublic.com/docs. D as in David, O as in Oscar, C as in Charlie, S as in Sam. UNArepublic.com/docs. Now, you all can see this. Now, we're talking about natural law right here. Natural law. This is the hierarchy of law chart. We just came out of the universal laws. Now we're talking about natural laws. I need y'all to understand that natural law mimics universal law. Natural law mimics universal law. Now, why is this important? Because when we go and plant a seed, we go and plant tomato seeds. Can I expect in 3 months that I'm going to have some tomatoes growing out of this ground? Can I expect that? Yes, I can. And it's the same thing. This is only mimicking universal law. It's the same thing when you give to someone. That is planting a seed. When you, just the same way when I said, hey, I'm going to pay for some hotel room, I was planting a seed and I reaped it over here more than 7 times. You know, they tell you reap what you sow 10 times over when you put something out, it comes back tenfold. Yeah, I reap way more. And it depends on the energy that you put when you're giving. All right. So the same way you can expect to get tomatoes back when you plant a tomato seed, yeah, you can expect to receive when you give to someone. But how do you give? All right. How are your expectations? If you're giving with the right energy, just like when you watering the seeds with the right energy, kindness, love, gratitude. When you do that, yeah, you can expect it to come back. It's going to come back. The same way when you put out something negative, you can expect that to come back because it's going to come back many times over. Same thing when you do kind things. Same thing when you're giving. Same thing when you're loving. It's the law. In the same way when you plant a seed here in the earth, it's the same when you give to someone. That is a seed. Everything is a seed. And it must come back by law when you put it out. So yes, you can expect a return as long as you give, once again, with gratitude and love. Somebody wants to come on. Let me see if I can accept this.
Working till 11. Awesome. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you? She's so loud.
Hello? Okay, so what's going on? Tell me,
Oh, it's staticky. It is
how you
fancy
doing today?
restaurant. I don't eat wild meat.
What's your name? Your name?
My name is Stacy.
Hold on for a second. All right, hey Stacy. All right, tell me what you have going on.
Not much. We're just chilling out on a Friday night. Just some people, trying to work up some battles.
All right, did you want anything based on what we're talking about here today?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Thanks for joining us. You have a good one, okay?
Thank you. You too.
All right, bye. So, getting back to this, I know how to.
They was in discussion, y'all. We interrupted.
Yes, we are, because I need to make sure you all get these laws. Now, if you, again, we're getting into finding your fortune by giving to others, all right? So let me just recap, and if anybody has any comments or questions, I'd love to hear them. So one of the things that I want to recap on is making your life about. One of the things that I want to recap on is making your life about helping others. That does not mean that you give to the point where others are taking advantage of you. All right, these are some things to keep in mind as we learn to become more. It doesn't mean you just let people take advantage of you. All right, make sure if you can't give it and be happy about it, then hold on. Put something out. You want to make sure your energy is positive. Make sure you have gratitude. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for that energy to return back to you. And remember, that is a seed. It's like, again, just like being up here, natural law, it's like you planting a tomato and then you go and then digging, where is it? Why is it taking so long? Or you're stomping on the ground where the tomato is supposed to be coming up. So again, when you plant something, do it with love and then let it be. Water it. And water it when you're supposed to water it. And then let it grow. And it'll return to you. Be sure to find a way to give. Be sure to find ways to give. Find ways to be a fortune to other people. All right? And this is why you want to be around those who do it. Like I had a sister, she would tell me, she says during her birthday, she always sends a gift to herself. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love those kind of things. When you're around people who give to others, they help to remind you. And then y'all can join in and do something together. It's fun when you start giving. Yeah, you want to be a fortune to others. And it doesn't always have to be someone who's poor, by the way. And, yeah, we help people who are poor and who are homeless. But it can be your rich neighbor. It doesn't matter. Find ways to be a fortune to somebody. Find ways to give. And the universe does not care who you give it to as long as you have gratitude. All right? Whether it be the homeless people on the street, the light bill company, the rich neighbor, it doesn't matter as long as you show gratitude and love when you're doing it. All right? So, does anybody have any comments? Was anybody listening? Alvis, thank you so much for the love. Anubis, thank you for the love. And Alvis, oh, today is Friday. I forgot about that. Argentina getting around their post WW2 karma. Yeah, there's some karma going on in Argentina for sure. Ask me questions. I forgot tonight is Friday, but that's just as well. Okay, so with that being said, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't forget, UNA University is starting up